Revolution, transformation, progress. These are the words we use when we talk about the Industrial Revolution, a time that tore through Europe and America like a storm. It was a moment when everything changed. New technologies like steam engines and mechanized looms turned peaceful farming communities into bustling cities filled with factories and machines. People swapped the quiet of the countryside for the noisy, crowded streets of industrial hubs. But while this progress promised growth and opportunity, it came with a heavy price. The environment suffered, workers worked in unsafe conditions, and families were forced to live in squalor. And those problems didn't fade away. They grew, especially in the Second Industrial Revolution, which came charging into the late 1800s. So now we have to ask ourselves, what were the inventions that made this all possible, and what were the consequences that followed? Welcome to Through the Ages. Today we'll see the revolution that shaped our world, for better and for worse. So, let's start with one of the biggest game changers of the Industrial Revolution, the steam engine. James Watt unleashed an era with this invention. This engine powered factories, trains, and ships, forever changing how goods were made and transported. Imagine cities booming, trains zipping across the land, and factories running 24/7, all thanks to Watt's engine. It made everything faster, cheaper, and more efficient. But the steam engine might have sparked economic growth, but it also kicked off massive environmental damage. Factories started spewing out smoke and pollutants into the air, turning cities into industrial nightmares. And it also came with the human cost. Factories that used steam engines often had horrible working conditions, leading to worker exploitation, injuries, and even death. The steam engine might have powered progress, but it also set the stage for a polluted, dangerous world where people became cogs in the machine. Next up is the spinning jenny. Invented by James Hargreaves, this simple yet revolutionary machine took the process of spinning yarn to the next level. It allowed one worker to operate multiple spindles at once, massively boosting the production of yarn in textile factories. What once took hours of manual labor could now be done in a fraction of the time. Factories cranked out goods faster than ever, and the textile industry boomed. But the consequences weren't so pretty at all. While the spinning jenny created tons of products, it also led to the exploitation of workers, especially women and children, who were put to work in brutal factory conditions. This machine also wiped out traditional hand-spinning jobs, leaving many skilled workers unemployed. So while it drove industrial growth, it also helped set the stage for child labor, overcrowded factories, and a whole lot of human misery. Now let's talk about the power loom, another massive leap in textile manufacturing. Edmund Cartwright's invention mechanized the weaving process, meaning factories could produce fabric at a speed that was unheard of before. No more manual weaving, just one machine doing the work of several people, making fabric faster and cheaper than ever. This was a huge win for production efficiency. But with progress came a brutal price. The power loom didn't just change how fabric was made, it also led to massive job losses. Skilled handloom weavers were replaced by machines, leaving many families without work. And the people who did work the looms? Well, their lives weren't much better. Factory workers were stuck in long hours, dangerous conditions, and low wages. The power loom didn't just weave fabric, it wove in a new level of human suffering, with the rich getting richer while workers were left to endure the harsh reality of industrialization. Next, we've got the steam-powered locomotive. Thanks to George Stephenson, this invention didn't just move people, it moved entire industries. Trains became the backbone of transportation, making long-distance travel faster and more reliable. Suddenly, goods could be shipped across vast distances, and people could travel quickly from city to city, opening up new opportunities and connecting the world like never before. The locomotive was a symbol of progress and efficiency. But as we know, progress often comes with a dark side. The rise of the steam-powered locomotive didn't just change how we traveled, it disrupted entire ways of life. Railroads spread across the land, displacing communities, wrecking ecosystems, and forcing people into cramped industrialized cities. The demand for coal-to-fuel trains led to environmental damage as mining increased and pollution soared. That's how it left a trail of destruction in its wake, transforming landscapes and lives forever. Now, let's get into the cotton gin created by Eli Whitney. This machine did something simple but revolutionary. It separated cotton fibers from their seeds, making cotton production way faster and more efficient. Before this, workers had to pick seeds out by hand, a slow and tedious process. With the cotton gin, cotton could be processed in bulk, leading to a huge boost in production. This machine made cotton the backbone of industries, fueling the textile mills and even sparking a global trade boom. But while the cotton gin skyrocketed cotton production, it also made slavery even more entrenched in the South. Planters now needed more slaves to keep up with the demand, leading to a brutal expansion of the slave trade. So, the cotton gin deepened the roots of human suffering and inequality, keeping millions in forced labor for decades to come. Next up, we've got the electric telegraph by Samuel Morse. This invention was a game changer, allowing people to send messages over long distance almost instantly. Before this, communication was slow and often unreliable, with messages taking days or even weeks to reach their destination. With the telegraph, businesses, governments, and even families could exchange information quickly, leading to faster decision-making and more connected world. But like any breakthrough, the telegraph had its consequences too. The sudden speed of communication made it easier for governments and corporations to control information, spreading propaganda and manipulating public opinion. It also contributed to the rise of war, as military strategies can now be executed more efficiently, leading to quicker, more devastating conflicts. So it also sped up manipulation and conflict, turning a tool for connection into a weapon for control. Now let's talk about the Bessemer process, invented by Henry Bessemer. This method allowed steel to be produced more efficiently and cheaply, which skyrocketed the steel industry. Before Bessemer's innovation, steel was expensive and time-consuming to make, limiting its use. But after this breakthrough, steel became more accessible, fueling the construction of railroads, bridges, skyscrapers, and even weapons. It was a key driver behind the industrial boom. But the Bessemer process wasn't all progress and prosperity. The rapid expansion of steel production came with massive environmental costs. Pollution, deforestation, and toxic waste become part of the industrial landscape. And the demand for steel led to dangerous working conditions in factories where laborers were exposed to extreme heat and hazardous materials. The very industry that built modern cities also built the foundation for worker exploitation, environmental destruction, and the widening gap between the wealthy and the working class. The Bessemer process made progress, but at what price? Let's shift gears a bit and look at the safety pin, invented by Walter Hunt. It's simple, but this tiny device completely changed how we fasten things together. Before the safety pin, fastening materials was a hassle, often involving dangerous needles or stitches that could come undone. The safety pin made it quicker, easier, and safer to attach fabric, papers, or even temporary repairs. No sewing required. But while the safety pin may seem harmless, there's an unexpected dark side. As the pin became more popular, it sparked a massive shift towards disposable single-use culture. Instead of fixing items, people started tossing them away, leading to increased waste. This mindset seeped into other areas of life, fueling the growth of a throwaway society. While it might seem trivial, the safety pin's convenience contributed to a larger environmental and cultural shift that still impacts us today. Sometimes the simplest inventions leave behind a bigger footprint than we expect. Next up, we have photography, a thing brought to life by Joseph Nicephore Niepce and Louis Daguerre. For the first time, people could capture images and preserve moments forever. The ability to freeze time and share experiences with others completely transformed how humans saw the world. No longer did memories fade with time. They were captured in perfect detail, creating an entirely new way to connect with the past. But let's not sugarcoat it. While photography opened up incredible new possibilities, it also brought some unintended consequences. As the power to capture reality became more widespread, the way people viewed themselves and the world shifted. People became obsessed with appearances, editing reality to fit a perfect image. And with the rise of photography came a rise in objectification, turning people and moments into mere images to be consumed. Photography gave us clarity, but it also blurred the line between reality and representation, leaving us to grapple with a more superficial world that we are still dealing with. Now comes gas lighting, the brilliant invention by William Murdoch that lit up the streets and brought a whole new dynamic to cities. For the first time, cities could shine through the night, allowing people to work longer and move around safely after dark. It transformed urban life, making streets feel like they were alive with light, and gave cities a 24/7 vibe. But not all was perfect. While gaslighting extended the day, it also created a deeper divide between the haves and have-nots. The wealthy thrived with these new advancements, while the poor were left to deal with the dangerous side effects of gas. The fumes from gas lamps caused pollution, and the risk of fire was always looming. What was meant to bring light also darkened the air and created health hazards. Gas lighting made cities glow, but the cost was a darkening of health and safety for the very people it was meant to serve. As we innovate today, are we learning from history or are we repeating its mistakes? Which invention do you think had the greatest impact on us? Let us know in the comments. Thanks for watching. To support our channel, please make sure to subscribe, and once again, thank you so much for watching. As Albert Einstein once said, the true sign of intelligence is not knowledge, but imagination. Let's keep imagining, questioning, and creating, because innovation, with all its brilliance, also carries the weight of its consequences.